So it feels like SmackDown is actually coming back. This week was actually fun to watch as opposed to, some of the weeks we've had SmackDown recently. We start the show with Tiffany Stratton coming out telling us that she is going to win the Elimination Chamber match, and she is interrupted by Lash Legend and Nia Jax. Lash Legend says that her and Nia Jax are going to win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships tonight on SmackDown, and Nia will go on to win her qualifying match, win the Elimination Chamber, and win at WrestleMania. Right after this, we get into our opening match of the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. Champions Rio versus Nia Jax and Lash Legend. This match starts off pretty slow because we have the heels of Nia Jax and Lash Legend just beating the absolute crap out of Io Sky. Io Sky takes all of the offense in like the first half of this match. Rhea is just stuck on the turnbuckle waiting for Io to tag her in. But eventually Rhea does get tagged in and she starts pulling out some lucha libre moves. I mean, we're talking hurricanranas, we're talking spinning DDTs. I don't know where this came from, but it looks great because Rhea doesn't look like she should be able to do that, but she is able to do it on Nia Jax and Lash Legend. There is one move should they kind of mess up, but I'm gonna give them a pass because Rhea should not be able to do those moves whatsoever, but she is somehow. There's a moment where Rio is about to retain the World Tag Team Championships, but it's broken up by Lash Legend. It's that everything gets taken to the outside of the ring, and for some reason, the match is called off. Nobody was counted out. Nobody used a weapon. Nobody was disqualified. So I have no idea why this match was called off. After the match is called off, a table is set up on the outside. They set Rhea up on it, and Nia Jax is going to jump off the top rope onto Rhea. Io stops her, and Io is able to knock Nia through. She jumps through the ropes onto Nia and then through the table on the outside. Absolute perfect spot. And then immediately after this, Lash Legend knocks Rhea Ripley through the barricade into the timekeeper's area. The way and how successively this was done was awesome. But I do want to reiterate, I still don't know why this match was called off. Like I said, no count out, no disqualification. Tiffany Stratton did not get involved. They just all went to the outside, started fighting, and the ref just calls off the match. I don't get it. I don't know. Can somebody explain to me in the comments down below? Can somebody explain why this match was called off? Because I still don't know. We then get an interview with Cody Rhodes, and he says he's going to win his qualifying match, win the Elimination Chamber, and win at WrestleMania. We get a lot of this tonight because it is Elimination Chamber coming up and it road to WrestleMania, so everyone's focusing on that. I just wish they had more creative things to say when they do this, but he basically says he's going to win it all. Then we get Carmelo Hayes in the back talking to Matt Cardona and Apollo Crews, and he basically says, hey, the US Open Challenge is done for tonight. I have a match against Ilya Dragunov for the championship. Sorry, guys, but maybe we'll see next week. He runs into The Miz. He basically says The Miz sucks, and this feud continues. I'm assuming this will be a match at WrestleMania, maybe a triple threat between Carmelo Hayes, The Miz, and Ilya Dragunov for the United States Championship, which would be kind of dope. And then after this, we get a promo about Aleister Black wanting to fight Randy Orton a little more, Elimination Chamber stuff, and Zelina Vega because she has a Elimination Chamber qualifying match tonight. She says she's gonna win and go on to Elimination Chamber and then win at WrestleMania. You get the idea. At least this one was a little different because it wasn't an interview segment. It was one of those things where they like actually shot different shots and showed maybe like some things that happened in the past between Aleister Black and Randy Orton. So this one was at least a little more interesting than the Rhodes one before it. Carmelo Hayes comes out as we get set for our United States Championship match between Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov. And this title, the United States title, feels like the workhorse title right now. And no offense against Dominic Mysterio because I know he's been injured and everything. The Intercontinental title is usually the workhorse title. But this United States, this mid card division on SmackDown is absolutely top notch mid card scene. Ilya Dragunov comes out, and just before they can start the match, Solo Sikoa comes out. He says that Ilya Dragunov needs to get to the back of the line because the line starts with him. He wants his shot at the United States Championship. But instead of, getting a match like he wants, Ilya basically says, "Hey, we should have a match right now." And so it's like, so okay, cool, no problem. Him and MFTs all go in, start attacking these two. Not long after, we get Matt Cardona and Apollo Crews. They come out to help beat up on the MFTs, but it's still not enough because it's still only 4 against 5. And then Shinsuke Nakamura's music hits, and we have a 5-on-5 10-man tag team match made by Nick Aldis. We have this bitter rivalry between Shinsuke Nakamura and Tama Tonga to start off the match, and they do a great job of doing it, starting off with this really hard hitting style. It wouldn't be too long after until Tonga Loa and Matt Cardona are in the ring, and for some reason Tonga Loa tries to rip Matt Cardona's trunks off. It was a real awkward spot. It seems like they got lost in the sauce for a second. I'm really enjoying Tala Tonga as a part of the MFTs because he reminds me somewhat. I'm not saying he's just like him, but somewhat of like the bigger men of old. Big Show, Undertaker, Kane. We get this really cool and fun chokeslam spot where I can't remember which two he chokeslams, but he grabs two of them, chokeslams them. And then I want to say it's Apollo Crews and Matt Cardona who start wailing on it. It might be Apollo Crews. No, it's Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov, I believe now, where he tries to chokeslam them, but they get the best of him and knock him to the outside of the ring. It's been a long time since I've seen somebody big like that do a decent choke slam, so it's nice to see that they're doing that with him here. There's a lot of commotion going on at this point. Everyone's just kind of flying everywhere. Tama Tonga is able to sneak a tag from Solo Sikoa. Carmelo Hayes jumps from the top rope as Solo Sikoa hits him with a Samoan spike. He gets thrown out afterwards, and Tama Tonga is able to hit Carmelo Hayes with the cutthroat to win the match. After this, the lights go out, lights come up. We see the White Six in the crowd just to let everybody know that they're still lurking. Um, I don't know how I feel about the White Six. They don't feel threatening at all to me. I will say what I like about this is I like just about everyone in the MFTs except JC Mateo and Tonga Loa. To me, those two are the most boring guys in the group. And apparently they're the tag team champions now, even though I know they have the free bird rule. I understand that. But Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga won it, and then they just handed it over. So they're not going to defend at all. They're not going to try and strategically move the belts around depending on who they're facing. I don't know, seems kind of weird to me. And then another thing I like here is that Tama Tonga got the pin on Carmelo Hayes, the United States champion. I feel like Tama Tonga and Carmelo Hayes could have a fantastic match. And Tama Tonga's been the talk of like the mid card division, wanting to go against Shinsuke, wanting and staring at the United States Championship anytime he can get. So I feel like that's what we're also maybe working towards if we don't get a triple threat match between Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, and The Miz for WrestleMania. In the next segment backstage, we get Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair gives Alexa Bliss some gifts, saying sorry about the elimination thing during the Royal Rumble, and Alexa Bliss is like, no problem. It's every woman for herself, and I know that Nia knocked me out. So they're still kind of friends. It is then told next week in a backstage promo that it will be Damian Priest versus Carmelo Hayes versus Trick Williams in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. This all happens as we have Nick Aldis, R-Truth, and Damian Priest in the backstage area. They're talking about said Elimination Chamber match, and Kit Wilson comes in and he gives us a sweet poem about the toxic masculinity within the men's division on SmackDown. He pulls out his book, says the poem, and then R-Truth comes back at him with an off the dome promo to Kit Wilson, a hilarious one. I love this. This is fun. R-Truth is funny. We love R-Truth. And Kit Wilson is doing probably his best work of his career as this new toxic masculinity character. Genuinely, I feel like, and this might be a little weird, but I feel like the mid card division is just more fun to watch than any other division right now. If you just take the men's mid card on SmackDown, it's like last year's SmackDown tag team division. Just fun to watch, fun matches, fun segments backstage, fun all around. The next match we get is another qualifying match, this time for the women's Elimination Chamber match. We have Alexa Bliss versus Zelina Vega versus Giulia. And they start the match off with this really stupid pin spot. I don't remember who was pinning who, but one of the women goes to pin the other. Then they kick out at one, does it again to another woman, kicks out at one, and then finally one to another, kicks out at one. I don't know. I thought it was stupid because they're just standing there watching them pin them. And I know psychologically, they're probably not going to get a 3 count because the match just started. But we've seen matches go only like 10 seconds long because of a roll up pin. So why wouldn't you just attack? It's a free hit on 2 people. Why would you not take it? I don't know. I just thought that spot was really stupid. Then there's a moment later on which I enjoyed. Alexa Bliss is tied up in the ropes, and Julia's like grabbing her hair, just making fun of her, like flicking her tongue out of the crowd. I don't know. It was weird. It was funny. It was fun. It was just fun. Honestly, there's a lot of great spots in this match. There is one little messed up one by Zelina Vega. I feel like Zelina Vega has a really hard time going through the ropes because she did this like this was before the Giulia spot that I just talked about. She did this like 619 esque move through the ropes to grab Alexa Bliss's arm and head and use the ropes to choke her, but she looked like she had a hard time doing it. I don't want to take away from this match because it was fun. I'm just saying what I disliked about it, but I don't like Alexa Bliss winning. It's very predictable. She pins Lena Vega. At least Giulia didn't get pinned this time like she did last week. I don't know, not a fan of it. I want to see newer people in the Elimination Chamber. I understand you want your big stars at WrestleMania in your main event spots, but we can put some mid card people in the Elimination Chamber and it still be perfectly fine. Then we get another backstage segment where Sami Zayn goes up to Ray Fenix and says, "Hey man, I know I've been kind of in a funk and everything, but I need you to go out there and beat the crap out of Trick Williams." Ray Phoenix says, "Yeah, no problem. I just want to let you know that, like, hey, you really do make us feel like we can do anything." And Sami Zayn is really appreciative of everything he says and all the respect he has earned from those on SmackDown. Trick comes out, and instead of Ray Phoenix coming directly out, they actually give Trick a promo spot right before this match in the middle of the ring. He basically says Sammy's a loser. He'll never do anything. The underdog that will never proclaim victory. Ray Phoenix, he talks about him a little bit, saying how he's going to beat the crap out of him. And then Ray Phoenix comes out. Also, before I get to the match, Trick Williams, of course, says he's going to win the Elimination Chamber qualifying match, win the Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania. You get the drill. There is a crazy roundhouse kick. You should really go watch this match. There's a crazy roundhouse kick that Trick does to Ray Phoenix here. Absolute picture perfect roundhouse. I'm talking perfect. And Trick is getting most of the offense in the beginning of this match, but there is a moment in time where Ray Phoenix starts going. And when he starts going, it's fast, it's furious, it's fun. He's really keeping Trick on his toes during this run that he's going on. There's a moment where they both get up on the top rope, and it looks like Trick's going to get him. He gets him up on his shoulders. Ray Phoenix is able to get out of it. And as Trick is sitting on the top rope, Ray Phoenix is standing on the turnbuckle, and he does a double stomp to the back of Trick Williams' neck. He falls down. It was crazy because I thought he was going to do, like Hurricanrana or something like that. Did not expect a double stomp to the back of the neck. I believe that he goes for a pin afterwards and kicks out. And then they do this like crazy running spot where Ray is getting a whole bunch of speed and he gets a little bit too much speed because Trick is able to get the trick shot on him. 1, 2, 3. Trick Williams defeats Ray Phoenix here. In the backstage area, we have Rio looking forward to the Elimination Chamber. Rhea because she's already in the Elimination Chamber, and Io because she will be having an Elimination Chamber qualifying match soon. Giulia comes out of nowhere. She's absolutely pissed that she's lost her match for the Elimination Chamber. And Io Sky basically says, hey, maybe I come after that United States Championship. They go off screen. Jade Cargill comes out, aura farms for a second, and walks off screen. This leads us straight into our next match for the WWE Women's Championship. We have champion Jade Cargill versus Jordynne Grace. During the announcement, though, of Jade Cargill, because you know how they'll have both the competitor and the challenger, and then the announcer right in the middle. Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day come out. That is Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, and Raquel Rodriguez. Dom basically says he has a wonderful Valentine's Day surprise for Liv Morgan. They bring out a table, food, and flowers for them to sit ringside and watch the match at hand. The funniest part about all this is the only food on the plates is some chicken nuggies because it's known that Dominic Mysterio loves chicken nuggies. A lot of the beginning of the match takes place on the outside of the ring. There's a table spot. There's a spot where Jade flips Jordynne Grace onto the barricade into the timekeeper's area. Uh, it made me think that they were going to have a lot of interference with the Judgment Day, but there was none throughout this entire match. I mean, there was a little brief thing where I think Jade ate a nugget from the plate, but other than that, there really wasn't anything. There's a moment where Jade Cargill goes for a chop onto Jordynne Grace on the outside of the ring when Jordynne Grace is up against the turnbuckle. Jordynne Grace ducks it. She hits her arm on it, and then Jordynne Grace spends the rest of this match working that arm. But it would be to no avail. Jordynne Grace goes to pick up Jade Cargill and hit her with her finisher. Jade is able to flip out of it, land on her feet, beat her up a little bit, and then hit her with Jaded, a one-armed, quote unquote, Jaded. For the 1, 2, 3, Jade Cargill retains her WWE Women's Championship, goes out, stares at Liv Morgan and Raquel's, standing there being big bodyguard. And I'm assuming it's going to be Liv Morgan and Jade Cargill. To me, that just makes the most sense right now. Once again, in the backstage area, we get Johnny Gargano. He is still sobbing. He is still moping. He doesn't know what to do with life. He doesn't have the mask. He doesn't have his tag team partner anymore. Oh, woe is me, as Fraxium and the Motor City Machine Guns look on as to what is happening. Candice LeRae, he's sitting on one of those production trunks that they would put, like lights, cameras, and all that kind of stuff in, and she kind of just pushes Johnny away on the thing as the MFTs come out, and Solo Sikoa looks at them and is like, "You guys want a shot? You ain't getting a shot." They walk away, and I'm assuming it's Solo Sikoa's like dressing room or whatever, because there's a picture of his face, but his face has been like transformed into like a lantern. His face has got like a handle, and his mouth is where the light is and everything. Kind of funny, and it's, of course, Wyatt Six shenanigans still. Back in Nick Aldis's office, we have Oba Femi, and Nick Aldis is trying to get Oba Femi to sign the SmackDown. But Kit Wilson walks in, doesn't really notice Oba Femi, and is like, oh, crap. Nick Aldis grabs his little poem book. There's a bookmark to a poem about how Oba Femi is nothing but a clown. And Oba Femi doesn't take kindly to that, asks Nick Aldis for a match against Kit Wilson. Next week, we will have an official match between Obafemi and Kit Wilson. I think Obafemi is amazing. I think Kit Wilson is amazing. I can't wait for next week to see what they do. Next, just before our main event, we have Drew McIntyre being interviewed by Kathy Kelly, and she's asking about everyone in this elimination chamber. He just thinks everyone is pathetic, and as he's about to leave, Sami Zayn steps in the frame, and Drew looks at him and says, I want you to win. I think you can win. As Sami Zayn, his music hits, he walks out and he looks extremely confused. And I was extremely confused as well because this was a man that just told you for weeks that you were a loser. And now he thinks you can win the qualifying match and the Elimination Chamber. This is just a little too weird. And this leads us right into our main event of Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. This match at the very beginning is extremely back and forth. I'm talking There wasn't a lot of times where it was only two guys in the ring, which I always enjoy in a triple threat match. There's a moment where Cody gets the Cody cutter, which turns into a Fatu moonsault. And then there's a moment where Sami Zayn is being pinned, I believe, by Cody Rhodes. It might have been Jacob Fatu. I honestly can't remember. And Drew McIntyre breaks up the pin by hitting him with a Claymore. Drew McIntyre starts just wrecking shop. I'm pretty sure it was Jacob who got hit with the Claymore because I think he gets thrown out, and then Cody comes in. They fight for a little bit. They're all outside now, except for Sami Zayn. Jacob Fatu gets thrown into the announcers table. Cody Rhodes gets thrown into the turnbuckle. Drew picks up Jacob Fatu, power bombs him through the announce table, and then he hits Cody with a Claymore, throws him inside, drags Sami Zayn onto Cody, and as Drew's walking out, the ref, who is checking on Jacob on the outside, comes into the ring, goes 1, 2, Cody kicks out, and Drew comes back to the ring because he wanted Sami Zayn to win. There's a whole bunch of craziness going on. Drew McIntyre gets haluva kicked, so he's out. And then Cody Rhodes is able to hit the crossroads onto Sami Zayn. 1, 2, 3. Cody Rhodes wins and qualifies for the Elimination Chamber. Now, I don't want Cody to be in the Elimination Chamber. I want someone different. Sami Zayn, like they said, hasn't been in since 2021. It would have been fun to have Jacob Fatu in his very first Elimination Chamber. I don't know. I don't want predictable people going into the chamber. We can put some of these mid card, upper mid card guys in the Elimination Chamber. Make them feel like they're main event worthy. Start building them up to here. Anyways, I'm sure we'll get a good match out of the Elimination Chamber, but right now it's Randy, LA Knight, and Cody Rhodes. They all kind of have the same fighting style in a way. So I don't know how they're going to make that work. Even though a lot of stuff here was very predictable, it was still fun. I may not like Alexa Bliss going to Elimination Chamber. I may not like Cody Rhodes going to Elimination Chamber. But storyline wise, everything is making sense. They're keeping up with storylines. We got Kit Wilson twice on the show. So I'm feeling that this show is like I'm going to go a 4 out of 5. This was really fun. I didn't get a lot of things that I wanted. I would have much preferred like Giulia in the Elimination Chamber, Jacob Fatu or Sami Zayn in the Elimination Chamber. Uh, yeah, I'm feeling a 4 out of 5. And that is my review of the February 13th, 2026 edition of SmackDown. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought about this week's SmackDown. And while you're down there, if you've watched this long, you probably enjoyed the video. You might as well hit the like button if you enjoyed, the subscribe button, and that little notification bell so you can know every single time this channel uploads. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.